Okay, here we go, YouTube. Welcome back to Phatkat Collections. What is going on here? We got a little technical difficulties here. I'm going to line that up. Close enough. Alright, so today doing another reaction video. And today we are going to react to an older video by Maverick Watch Reviews. And this is where he's doing an unboxing slash review of one of the Invicta watches. And this happens to be one of my favorite Invicta models. The Invicta Grand Octane or Grand Arsenal, depending on what year you purchase this watch. We're gonna try to be nice, right? I'm not gonna. We all know I can be kind of a little abrasive at times, so I'm just gonna critique what he's saying just kind of give my 2 cents on it. Now, this is an older video. It's got about 20,000 subscribers. I had to dig a little bit to find it. It's not showing up under Invicta Watch Review anymore. It may down several pages, but at least for purpose of today's video, I stumbled on this one years back, and I remembered it, and I just wanted to do a reaction video. Remember, these are just meant to be fun. You know, I don't want this to come across as that I'm trying to insult these guys. Remember, everybody has their own taste when it comes to watch collecting, and I think even with YouTube, I've grown a lot in how I, film my videos, maybe a little bit. But anyway, just want to do this reaction video because a lot of times when people are looking at buying something, they will go to YouTube. I know I use YouTube as a search engine, and I like to get an idea of what other people have to say about a product. Usually I make up my own mind to buy something on my own. Usually I'm not looking for, I think, reassurance when I'm looking at other YouTubers, but I do like to hear what they have to say, and a lot of times I'm just looking for what the watch looks like, right? Or any product for that matter. And, of course, it always helps to get a little insight from somebody who has used the product to, see what they have to say about it. But a lot of times guys like this will put up a video, and they're so biased when they come to reviewing watches. They usually have stores, and some of you will come back, and I read the comments later on, and it's like people don't watch the entire video or listen to me when I speak about this. YouTube is a business, and so there's ad revenue, and of course there is affiliate marketing. Now, I am an affiliate for many different brands. When you click one of my links, full disclosure, as I've always mentioned, it will give me a small commission based on the sale. Now, if you don't like me or you don't want to, help in any way with those commissions, think of it just like when you go in to buy something in a store with a commissioned salesman. The salesman is taking their time to sell the product. Hopefully they believe in the product. That's, usually can come across pretty easily when you're dealing with a salesman. But remember, that's a way that you reward somebody for their time. Now, again, if you like my content, don't like my content, watch it, don't watch it, I don't really give a shit, right? It's ultimately, there is always going to be folks who like what you're doing and folks who don't. And so that's just part of life. However, if you find value in what I'm saying and you do want to make a purchase and use my link, usually there's a coupon code to save you a little bit of money, so it's a win-win. Now, other folks will put down other brands because they're not affiliated with it. So it's really interesting, and I see a lot of these YouTubers change their tone over the years as they start off with just bashing a lot of products, and let's just be specific to watches today, bashing these specific brands because they're not affiliated with it because they have their own website or their own brands that they have affiliation with, and so they'll cut other brands down to get you to buy something that they're recommending. I never cut any brands down. I think if you want the Rolex, buy the Rolex, whether I'm an affiliate or not. If you don't like Invicta, there's so many great watches out there. My argument with watches is always going to be about quality and bang for buck. And of course, you have to like the watch, right? You shouldn't buy a watch because somebody else told you that that's a good watch or respectable watch to have. You should always buy what you like and makes you happy. And I hear other YouTubers who started off in this YouTube world as being extremely obnoxious, arrogant, pompous, and rude, come around now and be like, oh, well, you should always buy what makes you happy. Unless you throw Invicta on the screen, then it's like just cut it to pieces. So bottom line is Invicta is a very polarized brand, right? A lot of people either like it or hate it. I like the brand, but I like a lot of brand watches. So I enjoy the small stuff, like this small Duke So homage I got on my wrist today. Enjoy it just as much as other watches. But the Invicta watches are definitely, I think, more fun. And a lot of guys, because they don't like the styling, because they just think they're over the top, just remember, when you have to cut somebody else down, it says a lot about your character as a person, how you really feel about yourself. People who are confident, people who like what they like, don't need the approval of others. The entire YouTube space could tell me that Invicta watches are garbage and look like shit, and I look stupid for wearing them. I will fire back, but I'm still going to wear them, right? So, with that being said, let's take a look at what Maverick Watches has to say about the Invicta brand. This is, again, the Grand Octane Limited Edition. As you folks pop into the chat, if we get any today, I don't know, when I use the streaming software, I definitely get a lot less folks popping into the live streams. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I did keyword load this beforehand, but we'll just see what we get. Drop in, say hello. I can see a pop on the participant list, so let's begin. And then we'll kind of pause it while we're going to react to it. Remember, if there's a little bit of an echo in there, just have to deal with it. I got the volume really low so I can listen to it and record my audio at the same time, and it's recording desktop audio, so there might be a little bit of an echo. Just kind of bear with me. I'm not really sure how to get rid of that other than wearing headphones. And I'm not going to do that.
Hey guys, welcome back to Maverick Watch Reviews. And no, your eyes are not deceiving you. And yes, this is an actual Invicta watch box in front of my camera on my kitchen table.
All right, so right off the bat, this is actually an Invicta. It's almost like insinuating the watch is beneath him. I always kind of question YouTubers who don't put themselves on camera. I think it's kind of really chicken shit, to be honest with you. You know, when you put yourself out there, you're putting yourself, your looks, your face, everything for the world to see. And there are going to be people who are nice and people who like the way you look and people who think that you're ugly, right? This is the way it goes. But I do always question somebody. I feel like there's a cockiness that comes with a lot of these watch reviewers who don't actually show their face. They hide behind the screen. They hide behind what they look like because it allows them to be a lot more brazen, a lot more bold in how they want to critique others and what others like. So that's kind of first off something I don't like. I do the close-ups. I put my face on camera. I'm out there for you. But also, guys like this, right off the bat, I don't like this style of reviewing. Although I do these because there's a lot of folks who do like just to see the watches. But you can see on my channel, there's a big selection of me in the camera and me behind the camera.
I don't know how I feel about this. This is one of those watch reviews where I'm going to try my hardest to be kind.
Over dramatic, laughing like, oh, ho, ho, like this is like for a grown man, you find it hard to be, as an adult and as a grown man who's confident, secure in themselves and happy, you don't have to try to be kind to people. You don't have to try to respect other people's opinions and other people's choices and what they like. Remember, you know, back in my sales days, when somebody would come in to buy something, you'd never want to go ahead and when they'd say, oh, well, what do you think about brand X? And then let's say you really want to sell brand V because it's, you know, more commission or whatnot. You never want to dissuade any particular brand because, in sales anyway, because that person made the decision to buy that. So if somebody comes in and says, you know, hey, I'm looking to buy this Rolex, and they're like, oh, you know, have you ever had experience with any other brands? They're like, oh, I had an Invicta, and you're like, oh, Invictas are shitty. Then you're automatically insulting that guy's ability to make a decision as a human being and more, you know, and as a man. So, you know, this shouldn't be difficult. I'm going to try to be nice. It's like, this says a lot already about this type of reviewer. And this is the kind of person who just, you know, I highly doubt this person would say this to people like face to face. And I'm not trying to use violence or anything like that. I'm just saying people like this are always brazen when they're like in their own homes, hidden behind the camera, you know, keyboard warriors, we call them. So, you know, again, as a grown man, as an adult, it should be just human nature to want to be kind to others without you, I'm going to try to be nice about it. You know, that's just right off the bat, prick.
And consider.
Now, for the hypocrites, for saying, "Oh, you called him a prick," yeah, I am being exactly the same. Do unto others. That's kind of what you'll get from me. You treat me nice with respect. I'll never throw the first blow on you unwarranted, but I sure will follow up with a counter.
And not just pick this watch up and throw it out the window. But with that being said, there are some issues with this watch, and y'all know that I am not a big fan of Invicta at all, but I know there are quite a few of you, maybe not subscribers to this channel, that love Invicta, that just put Invicta on a pedestal, that just think these are the best watches since, you know, horology was invented.
Well, I don't know if, I'm sure there are, let me respond. I'm sure there are people who think that Invicta is the very best brand. I never like to use best other when it's something used subjectively. If somebody says, hey, Invicta is the best brand for me, for my taste, for my budget, then it is the best for that person. And who is this guy to say that, you know, otherwise, right? When you choose, and this can be said with anything that you choose to buy, right? But specifically, we're talking watches today. If you think Invicta is the best brand, you don't need to back that up. You just need to say it's the best brand for me. Now, if we're saying it's the best brand because it has the best quality, well, those are kind of measurable metrics. So naturally, one could counter that and be like, well, this is the reason why I'd say Invicta is not the best brand, right? There's arguments to be made on where a brand might fall into that word best. But, as far as you folks know I love Invicta, right? But do I think Invicta is the best brand out there? I don't really know what the best brand out there is. But again, for me, for my style, for what I like, then it's one of the best brands for me. But again, I'm wearing this Duxo smaller watches. I wear everything, so I don't never want to say that there is a best brand, even for me. I like the brand. I enjoy their watches. Sometimes I like to wear big, gaudy, flashy watches. Sometimes I don't. But at the end of the day, 480 watches in my collection, I think, 470, 480. They're all pretty close across all brands as far as quality.
This is going to be one of those videos, guys, where I'm going to try to walk a fine line between, giving you the information and trying to temper my opinions about this watch.
Well, there's no reason to temper the opinions. One could very, very easily and very professionally say, "Hey, this is definitely not my style. I think this is over the top, super gaudy." There's a certain way to word things where you're not stepping on somebody's toes. You can, it's like when I say if you buy a Rolex, you're an idiot for spending money. I don't believe that. If you like a Rolex, I mean, a Rolex is overpriced, but if you like a Rolex watch or a Tudor or whatever, Casio, then that's the best watch for you. I'm not here to tell you what you should spend your money on. What I'm here to tell you is that there's not much of a quality difference with brands. So a lot of guys won't like this because they don't like the brand, because they don't like the design style. They try to twist the truth into it being about quality when it's really not. These opinions are super subjective.
I'm going to try. I'm gritting my teeth. I'm going to try to be as nice as I can.
What a childish human being. Could you imagine being friends with this guy? Being around somebody who has a hard time being respectful of other people's opinions. This is kind of the problem with our country.
About this Invicta. Anyway, with all that being said, today we have the Invicta DC Comics Aquaman Grand Octane Limited Edition 200-meter quartz chronograph. Big breath. And this is model number 26.
I don't know why you need a big breath for that. I mean, he created the title name. It is the Invicta. We can say that it's almost like he's insinuating that the name is too long. Like, you don't need to add 200 meters quartz. Quartz is a feature. Chronograph is a feature. 200 meters is a feature. Limited edition is a feature. The model is Grand Octane. It's an Invicta 60. You don't even need to put 63 millimeter. It's an Invicta Grand Octane. That's like me saying, oh, it's a Rolex Submariner yellow gold chronograph model number blah blah blah. I mean, if you're out of breath from that, I'd say hit the gym.
910. So as usual, we're going to open this thing up, look at all the features and functions, check out the build quality, and then I'll let you know what I think of this really, really, really big watch. Also, make sure you check out my Amazon shopping channel for all of my other, keyword there being other.
All right, so there you go right there. Check out my Amazon shopping channel. This is an affiliate Amazon store. Just like I do, he gets commissions on that. And it's okay that if he was smarter, he'd give the watch an honest, good review, because there is a lot of people who love the Invicta brand. Why not refer them and get commission on them rather than alienate people, right? So anyway, that is his affiliate store with brands that he warrants as being worthy.
Favorite watches that I've reviewed on this channel, and be sure to visit my Teespring merch store and pick yourself up a t-shirt or a mug. I'll make sure to put both of those links in the description field for you. So here we go. Invicta watch box with a rather massive watch inside. I'm just going to go ahead and do it, get it over with, and you might want to turn away. Your face might melt. I don't know what's going to happen here.
All right, so again, now he's just being, super silly. Again, I'm not offended by this, but I do think it's interesting that a grown man can't be respectful when doing a review on a watch. He's like, my face might melt, lots of people love these watches, and Invicta they produce a watch really for everyone, right? They make watches that are big, small, homage, copy, which is really a copy, right? They make different colors. overall, and I've said many times, the quality between Invicta, there are two different qualities. There's the ones that I personally wouldn't buy, the really entry-level stuff, and then there's everything else, which is fantastic. And so again, you know, just totally bashing people who like this brand already. You know, I always find it interesting when guys like this hide behind the screen, because like we don't see where you live, like what kind of car you drive, how you maintain your house, how you maintain your landscape, what kind of watches on your wrist, how do you maintain your body, right? So it's like these people just hide behind the camera to avoid anybody critiquing them, right? And I'm sure if we were allowed to critique them, we saw how we could critique them, we could be just as offensive and mean, probably a lot easier than the way that he's treating this watch, right?
Equipment, you know, might break itself in protest. My studio light might go out. I don't know what's going to happen.
How childish.
So this is...
I mean, imagine, this is a grown man saying, oh, my light might go out. Like, dude, I know this is his attempt to be funny, but, you know, just, it's not. It's stupid.
This is uncharted territory, guys. Here we go. Oh, my God, my eyes are melting. Oh, my God. Now,
so the Grand Octane, right? That's a pretty cool watch. Now, I'm not really into the Aquaman, the themed watches Invicta makes, because I'm not really a huge, like, I've seen Aquaman. I think the color combination, the green and gold, is kind of cool, honestly, but I'm not into the busyness of the logo. You'd have to be an Aquaman fan. I do like this watch. I think it's one of the best watches, the best designs Invicta made. It's big, it's bold, it's incredible, right? It's well made. And we'll get to that as we move on with the video. But yeah, this isn't really my style, but definitely like the model, just not really the theme on this. But, you know, am I going to be, like, if I saw it on somebody's wrist, I'd be like, oh, dude, you got an Aquaman. You know, if it was a Rolex Aquaman, not that they make that, but I'd be like, oh, man, you got an Aquaman. You know, that's cool. Like, it's a way for people to express what they like with a watch. And I've said it many times, watches like this, these themed watches, they kind of cross... They're like hybrid crossover watches. They bring people into watch collecting and wearing a watch that maybe wouldn't. You might be a guy out there who loves the Aquaman movies. And let's face it, like we can make fun of those folks all day long, right? I mean, if one wants to be mean, but there are thousands of people who go to Comic-Con, who get dressed up, who collect this stuff. Grown men collecting toys, nothing wrong with any of this. Like, why is that okay to do that? But yet this is somehow super offensive. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, everybody likes something different. Why not be respectful of what they like?
I've contacted a local construction company and see if they could bring a crane over to lift this thing out.
I know he's just trying to be funny, but imagine being like this, like dramatic. Imagine being this out of shape that like you need a crane. Like, I know he's just trying to be stupid, but I mean, again, it's a heavy watch. It weighs about a pound on size. Like, really, you need a crane? Are you that weak? I mean, I know, again, he's just trying to make a joke here, but it's still stupid.
This watch weighs 1 pound. Yes. Some sites have it at 2 pounds.
Those sites are incorrect.
I don't have a little scale with me. I wish I did, but I don't. But easily the heaviest watch, easily the biggest watch I have ever reviewed on this channel. So let's lift this thing up. All right. Oh, my God. Okay. Now, usually I show you everything that you get with the watch inside the watch box. There you go. You get a manual, you get a couple warranty cards, and something.
All right, so he said usually I show you everything, and he's making it sound like this is something different. Like every watch brand, I mean, of all the watches I have, all 480-ish watches came with a box. They all come with a manual, right? Sometimes they'll come with a tool, an extra strap. This is pretty generic. Do I love the Invicta Yellow? I'm not really a fan. I usually, I've thrown away a lot of Invicta boxes. But, I mean, this isn't, like, if you have something really, like, for instance, the Visser Dive watches that I got, the Aqua Dive Bathyscap, really nice wooden box, beautiful presentations, but that's all, it's all put into the cost of the watch. We're looking at $1,000 to $2,000 watches on that. So it's like, why are we making it, we're treating this like this is something different than Invicta is doing. Every brand comes with a cardboard box unless you're getting something really expensive. So this is nothing different.
Something about the movement, who really cares? So
we're reviewing the watch. We're going to give you the information as he stated earlier, and he's talking about the movement. Who really cares? I'm not sure if he's just saying like who really cares about checking out the movement or in the manual, like how to operate it. Or okay, I can get that, but I don't read the manuals either. But or are we just kind of fluffing off the movement as if it's not worth talking about? Well, I guess we'll find out.
Here's the Invicta watch box. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the specs.
All right, so why was that? So let me just pause something here. Why was that funny? There's the Invicta watch box, again, like it was something super unique. Like if you look at, sure, like the RGMT Nubeo boxes, sometimes, even with those brands, they'll come with cardboard, and other times they'll come with like a nice dive case. At the end of the day, who really cares? It's all about the watch, right? So I don't really understand why he's making it out to be like that every watch comes with this amazing box, and Invicta just really shit the bed with this cardboard box. Doesn't really make a lot of sense there. But give me 1 second, folks. I just want to check to make sure this sucker is live and today. Who really? Give me 1 second here. So I'll make sure we're live. Yep, we are live. Okay, cool. All right. Continuing on.
You know what? I'm just going to put the main specs on the left-hand side of the screen, okay? The specs that matter. Good God, this thing is huge. Look at it. It's taken up a third of the frame on the right-hand side of the screen.
How dramatic. Dude, pull the watch away, right? I mean, come on.
Jeez, man. Anyway, so you're looking at a 56-millimeter case, and it's 63 if you count the crown.
I'm not sure if he's correct on the 56. I might be wrong myself. I thought those Grand Octanes were 58 at the bezel and then 63 to the crown. And this is one of the arguments that I make a lot of times where folks say, oh, well, it wears larger. Like the Time Teller did a review on one of the watches that he deemed acceptable. It was a 39 millimeter. It's like, I don't know, but it wears larger. A watch does not wear larger. A 39 millimeter watch wears like a 39 millimeter watch, period. Unless it is square or rectangular or an odd shape that gives you extra size. A round watch at 39 millimeter is not as large as a 39 millimeter square watch. Of course, if you have something unique like extra large lugs, but most of the time with 39 millimeter watches, they're not looking to do what Invicta does with lots of metal, lots of things on it, right? It's generally going to be standard size lugs. So a 39 wears like a 39. In this case, it's safe to say that this watch, let's say it is 56 millimeter, wears like a 63 because the crown is so big, the function pushers, the crown guard, it adds size to the watch, so you do have to include it. It does wear closer to a 63, even though the way we measure watches is at the bezel, it really is a 63 millimeter watch.
It's 19 millimeters thick with this massive Invicta logo on the left-hand side.
So again, nothing wrong with not liking the Invicta logo or not liking the watch, but again, lots of brands put brands on their watches. Most watches have branding on the face, on the back of the watch, on the clasp, right? And some kind of branding on the crown. So Invicta throws one more on some of their watches. I don't know why this is such a problem for some people out there. Like, oh my God, it says Invicta. Like, if you hate the brand, then don't worry. Then you're not worried about that. You're just not gonna buy the brand. Like I've heard about some people trying to grind it off. It's like, just don't buy it.
Lug to lug, brace yourselves. 67 millimeters lug to lug, and the bracelet is 31 millimeters. Yes, I said that correctly, a 31 millimeter bracelet. The rest of the stuff has got a flame fusion crystal, which is like a synthetic sapphire. It says it's water resistant to 200 meters, which is 660 feet. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, we can say that with any watch. Just because it's Invicta doesn't mean you need to question the depth rating. This is not rocket science, folks. Invicta watches use seals just like every other watch. This is not like something that's so difficult to produce a watch that's water resistant. Now, is this watch water resistant to that depth? I don't know. Is any watch for that matter? Like when you're looking at affordable watches, they're not going to come from the factory pressure tested, right? Now, maybe if you buy a Rolex, maybe they do pressure test them, and they are tested. And I know Oceaniva, perfect example, that's not a luxury brand that pressure tests their watches, right? So, yeah, if you're buying a watch mainly for the depth rating, then this probably isn't the brand to go with. This probably is not the watch you dive with. But who cares? Like, most people are going to take it in the rain, maybe jump in a pool with it, it's going to be fine, right? Unless something is defective, and that can happen with any brand. So this is not specific to Invicta.
It's got a Ronda Z60 movement. You can get those for about $35. Tons of different places.
Okay, you can get Ronda movements. Most affordable movements are going to be in that 30 to, I'm just picking a number here, but let's say $10. You probably get a cheap Chinese off-branded crew movement for $10 on eBay. So $35 for a Ronda up to, thousands of dollars movement. I could assure you that this Ronda movement is more accurate than a Rolex. So it's like, I don't know why we're kind of like discrediting, oh, you get this for $35. You get inch 35 movement automatic, which is, everybody's like, oh, that's an amazing movement. That's a respected movement. You can get those for about $40. So again, what does that have to do with anything? Like, just because you deem that this Ronda brand is no good, Ronda specializes in making high quality quartz movements. So what I don't get it. Again, this is planting seeds of doubt as if they're doing something inferior. This is a fantastic movement company.
Battery life, a couple of years, maybe?
Wrong. Totally wrong. Battery life on these, if you pull the crown, I shouldn't say, let me backstep there. Some folks accidentally activate the chronograph. You're not going to get a year out of it. You want to keep the chronograph off on the Ronda movements. That means the main second hand is stationary. It's not moving unless you're tracking time, right? Or you're recording time. Battery life, I'd say maybe he's correct in maybe the 2 years, but you can stretch that to over 7 years by pulling the crown to the number 2 position when not wearing it. This motherfucker better not run on my grass. God, man, I swear to God, people just do not know how to drive. Sorry, folks. What's this motherfucker doing? Just chilling in my driveway? I never understood. Let me just digress for a second since we're live. I never understand why somebody would park in the middle of the fucking driveway when you're visiting my neighbor. Like, don't you understand there's an address on the house?
Windable, no, it's not an automatic watch or a manual watch. It is hackable. It doesn't have a date function. There is no date on this watch. It does have a day function over there at the 9 o'clock subdial, which is absolutely useless. You can't read it.
I'm not sure what he means. The day function is, day of the week. I can read it. It says Sunday. Like, that's, I'm not sure if he wears glasses. I'm not really sure. But this is, again, just garbage nonsense. You can read, that's very legible. Like, is it as legible as other watches? No, but it's not like, he stated you can't read it. You can read it. I think most people can read that.
It's so dark, you've got a dark green background with black lettering. So the day wheel is just absolutely worthless.
Can read, I can see all that, no problem. So again, this is going to come down to whether or not, maybe a person is colorblind, maybe a person wears glasses, maybe he does, maybe he has both ailments, right? But, this is, again, if you're buying this watch, he's reviewing this in such a subjective way that it doesn't, we're talking about quality, right? This is the features. Why are we not talking more about the features? Maybe he'll get to that. But the fact that you can't read, that you're personally having a problem reading the date, that's your problem. That's not the watch's problem. And if you're buying a watch for legibility, this is not what you buy. This is a watch you buy because you like Aquaman. You like Aquaman and you like big watches. That's the person who buys it. You're not concerned with the legibility of it. So
it's got a non-screw down crown over here at 3 o'clock with a big, huge, pronounced crown guard.
All right, so just let me make it clear, too. A lot of the Grand Octanes do have screw-down crown and function pushers. Depending on which version you buy, Invicta, first came out with these, they were all screw-down crown function pushers. As they moved on and started making these more affordable, I'm not going to say they cut corners because the watch still has water resistance, but they might have made the watch a little more affordable at times. For instance, on my Grand Octanes, I paid upwards of $400, which is too much. But I really wanted that watch. At that time, that was a fair price. And I paid as little as $130. So same watch, really. So again, it depends on supply and demand. It depends on how much you want something. Is one better than another? No, they're the same. But one does have, most of them have screw down crown and function pushers. Some do not. Not a concern to me. I'm not diving with it.
Loom, who knows? Who cares, honestly?
I mean, you're talking. This is supposed to be a review. Like, don't call this a review if you're just here to bash the watch. If you're strictly going to be like, make something like this, it's not a review, and you're not talking about the features. Just say, watch me make fun of this watch, and offend who you want to offend, and then call it a day. But this is not a review. The lume is important, but I will say one thing about that. The Invicta, the one thing I will say about the lume is that it does have lume, but it's not very good. It's probably, the Invicta brand probably is one of the worst lumes of any watch, right? I mean, the lume is kind of comparable to $20 watches, so it's not good. You don't buy an Invicta if you want good lume.
And it has a 120-click unidirectional bezel, which is actually really easy to turn. And it's got decent play in it.
All right, so that's pretty standard. It's almost like this guy's like never reviewed affordable watches before, because most watches, absolutely, I agree with him. The bezel action on those is great, but the bezel action on most watches is great. And if you have a watch that's this large, it's naturally going to be easier to turn. It's large, your finger can grip it really well, and the bezel action is fantastic on Invicta watches. Not so much on my Invicta Grand Diver. Scalloped edges, very slippery, very short, very not real thick. You don't get a lot of grip on it. Harder to turn, but the bezel's harder to turn just because it's a harder to turn bezel. So that is going to be, you can't expect the bezel like this on every Invicta, but most watches on the planet are easy to turn. Like, you're not struggling with it,
It's easy to turn because it's got these big, huge notches, not notches, I don't know, protrusions. Is that the right word?
And I call them pillars, protrusions, whatever he wants to call them. But yeah, that definitely gives you more grip. But even if this watch was smaller, it would be an easy to turn bezel. It's just a good bezel action.
And it makes it really easy to turn. And it doesn't have a lot of back play, which is really actually impressive. And look at that. It lines up pretty well with the 12.
No, it doesn't line up pretty well. It lines up perfectly. Like, that's as good as you need in a watch. So again, it's minimal back play. This watch doesn't have any back play. I have 8 of them, maybe 9 right now. Yeah, I mean, this is just, again, he's having a hard time giving credit where it's due.
12 o'clock index. So I swear I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying as hard as I can to be nice with this thing. So let's look at the dial. So obviously this is based after the Aquaman character. You got Aquaman's logo right there. You've got some huge, massive indexes in the middle here. You've got some subdials. It looks like, I guess that's like fish skin or fish scales right there. See the orange? Now the logo Invicta is printed on the underside of this flame fusion crystal. So there's not actually an applique of the logo on the dial. So
that's not true at all. The Invicta logo is printed on the glass.
You can see where it says Invicta. You can see the shadow on the Aquaman logo right there as well, right where my finger is. Like I said, you have the Aquaman logo. You've got a trident on the back side of the chronograph hand. See if I can show you that. And I'll demonstrate this. See the trident right where my finger is? Everything is so blinged out, it's kind of hard to distinguish one thing from another. There it is.
I think it's pretty cool. I think the trident hand is pretty nice. Oceaniva has... trying to think, maybe I'm wrong in that. Oceaniva's logo is the trident. You folks know I love the Oceaniva brand. I think that would be a fantastic addition to their watches. It's subtle, but you're always going to get people be like, oh, it's got the brand, just like the Invicta on the side. So remember, this is a themed watch. It's meant to have a lot of branding. It's meant to have little design aspects like that because it's themed after Aquaman. So again, if you don't like Aquaman, you don't like themed watches, you don't buy this watch.
That's right there. You've got some pretty tame hour and minute hands, surprisingly. You've got another subdial here. All these other 2 subdials are for the chronograph feature, and again, I'll demonstrate that here in a second. No date window. Day window, again, at 9 o'clock, and extremely hard to read.
Again, I know I'm going to repeat myself here, but you don't buy this watch because you're looking for legibility. So, again, I thought we were doing a review, and in a review, you talk about features, specifications, and stuff like bezel action, which he did, screw down crown, kind of stuff. But you don't concern yourself with legibility, which is subjective. I can read that watch just fine. But yes, it's not going to be as legible as a watch that's simpler, designed mainly for legibility. This is a themed watch, so I'm not sure why he's even mentioning this.
Big bezel, And if you notice, each one of these protrusions, ledges, plateaus, whatever you want to call them, has a little mini Aquaman logo right there. See where my finger is?
Pretty
Each
cool.
one of them has that. You've got white indexes.
Okay, we don't need the obvious pointed out. Like, we can all see it has white indexes, right? It's like saying, oh, it's green and gold. Like, yeah, we can see.
You've got, looks like a kind of like an IP coated green colored bezel with a, all of this is fake, obviously, a fake IP gold tone inner bezel.
I don't think anybody needs to. I mean, come back to planet Earth, dude. I don't think anybody needs to mention that. I don't think anybody's thinking that this watch in that $200 to $400 price range is gold. It's made of gold. However, does have plating on real gold. And if we want to talk about quality, the plating on my Invictas, like a lot of them are over 10 years old, been worn a lot, been worn at bars a lot of times when I frequented bars in the past. And on a bar, it's usually granite or, whatever it's made of. You're constantly rubbing it, scratching it, and they've held up extremely well. A real testament to their plating is the black Grand Octane I got, mirror polished black, which shows everything. It's incredible. It doesn't have a scratch on it. So Invicta does a great job at their plating. Remember, plating is not like it was in the 70s, in the 60s, where they're trying to gold plate things. It's flaking off, turning green. They've really come a long way when it comes to plating. So naturally, we know this isn't real gold, but it is, or solid gold, but it is real gold plated.
Right there. So the watch is, it's definitely different. It's not only is it the biggest watch I have ever reviewed, it's the most unique. Is that the best way to put it? The most unique.
Unique is a good word. Yeah, unique is a respectful way of talking about this. And we'll come back to comments too. Sorry, folks. I like to respond to these comments as they come in, but I will come back. We'll pause. Let me get a few more in there.
Watch I've ever reviewed. You've got some notches here for the 15-minute diver bezel. Nobody's ever going to take this diving. You've got pushers at 2 and 4 for your chronograph function. This starts it. Let's go ahead and start it. There you go. It's starting. All right. And let's go ahead and stop it. Reset it. There you go.
There you go. So what he demonstrated there was the chronograph feature. Remember, folks, those who don't know, chronograph is basically a stopwatch. If you have that large second hand, it's not the same on every watch. But a lot of watches out there that are quartz chronographs, when you have the second hand stationary at 12, the chronograph is stopped. That's the way you want to normally wear your watch, unless you're tracking time, right? So just kind of keep that in mind.
It doesn't line up perfectly with the 12 o'clock index, the chronograph hand.
All right, so that, again, he should know this, but these chronographs generally need to be calibrated. So somewhere along the way, this might have become uncalibrated, or he might have got a bad one. All of my Invictas line up perfectly at the 12 o'clock position. Not impossible, not discrediting what he's saying. He might have got a bad one, or that chronograph just needs to be recalibrated. And you recalibrate it by pressing a sequence of the function pushers, and you will... So, because sometimes folks will tell me my Invicta's broken and their second hand is lining up at 0, where you stop the chronograph, reset it, it's on like the 2. And so that just basically needs to be reset, basically. And you can, in steps, change that second hand all the way back to 12. So again, we don't know if this is defective or if it just needs to be recalibrated.
That's kind of to be expected. Let's go ahead and take a look at the side. Oh my God, this thing is just huge, man. Aquaman logo on the signed crown. The crown is non-screw down, by the way.
Again, for those of you tuning in a little bit late here, the crown on most Grand Octanes is screw down. So again, they make different versions, just like the Sea Hunter. There are models that have screw down crown function pushers and ones that do not. It's really the main difference. Usually price is a lot cheaper, but again, I've seen ones that just supply and demand dictate what these watches go for.
Again, those big, huge crown guards.
I mean, we get it. The watch is big. Like, we get it. It's like he just can't, understand that the watch is big. We understand this is a big watch.
These are just simple pushers at 2 and 4, like I said earlier. Looks like most of the watch has got a brushed finish on it, like a brushed satiny type of finish. You've got the green two-tone bracelet. They could use these links for like an aircraft carrier anchor if they wanted to.
He's so dumb, dude. Yeah, you can use the links for, he just can't stop, commenting on the size, It's just it's extremely childish.
My God, look at that. And I just noticed this. Each link has 2 pins. Look at that. I guess they couldn't find pins that were big enough.
That's not why they have 2 pins. It's just how they designed it. It's how the watch bracelet goes together. It's just how they designed it. It has nothing to do with pins being big enough, right? There's plenty of Invictas that are just as large. And I think there might even be a few Grand Octanes that have double pins and single pins. It's just the way they designed it. It has nothing to do with anything.
For this 31 millimeter bracelet, to hold the bracelet together. So they had to use 2 pins for each.
Again, making that up, there's plenty of, if you look at the Sea Hunters, you look at the Venoms, those are all big watches. Not all of them have 2 pins. And, you know, even if they did use 2 pins, like, I don't see how it's comical. If we pretend for a second that using 2 pins gives it some kind of more, structural stability or something like that, I don't think it makes any difference whatsoever, just how they design the watch.
Link, look at that. All right, let's get to the bracelet. Let's get to the clasp here. You've got a signed clasp, Invicta, Aquaman logo. You've got, looks like 4 micro adjustments. Let's go ahead and open this up. This does have a machined scissor clasp, which I was kind of surprised. There we go. Machined scissor clasp. There you go. Stainless steel. It's just a resistance pusher. Push it in, it snaps. There you go. Nice, satisfying snap. That, there you go. There's a positive point about the watch.
There's lots of positive points about the watch, right?
Let's move over to the other side here. Guys, that's really about it for the case and the dial and the bezel.
All right, let me pause for a second. I just want to respond to comments. We got a few people in here now, which is great. We have Dana Ortiz and we have Sabage. I'm not sure. Dana just says he wants one. You guys can probably see the chat as well. And then this gentleman, Sabage, said, I'm looking at Seiko Sun Baby Tuna to compare size and dial. Yeah, I have a Homage Tuna, quite a difference. This is a much larger watch. And he just said in comparison to other Invicta watches, this looks smaller. It may look that way in the video. Maybe this guy is like really overweight and has really big fat hands, because this is a huge watch. This is one of Invicta's top 5 biggest watches they make. So this is kind of like the pinnacle here. We have the Sea Hunter, which is the biggest, and again, sometimes biggest, some might come back and be like, oh, well, this one's a little bit bigger. They do make like some like the 5 time zone watch I got is a really large 63 millimeter full case. We're not even talking the function pusher crown. They do make a couple larger ones, but as far as a watch that I would consider the biggest based on size, weight, thickness, the Sea Hunter is the biggest. I feel like that one has the biggest wrist presence, right? This is definitely one of the biggest ones Invicta makes. And then welcome Giraffe, I think, Jarfy. I'm here, or am I not? LOL. You are here, sir. All right, continuing on.
All right, let's go ahead again. Let's open this back up real quick. And let's take a look at this case back. You got a big, huge Aquaman laser-etched case back. Got the logo, big laser-etched logo right there.
Again, we're just pointing out the obvious here. Maybe this is, his style of review, but we know we want to talk, if we're doing a review, we want to talk about the check boxes. What is it made out of? What is the crystal? What is the movement? What is the clasp? What is, the screw-down crown and function pushers, if they are screw-down crown, like he didn't mention. The case back, screw-on case back, stainless steel. Those are the main things we want to hear. Not like, oh, big old logo, big old logo. It's like he can't review the watch and get past the fact it's an Aquaman watch.
And of course, it tells you Swiss movement, stainless steel, flame fusion crystal right there at the bottom. Water resistant to 200 meters. Now, I have seen watches that are water resistant without a screw down crown. My range.
There's many watches without screw down crown that are water resistant. Pretty much, I don't want to overgeneralize. I really try hard not to do that. But most watches, no matter what crown they have, do have an element of water resistance. So he should know this as a watch reviewer. If it has a screw down crown and function pushers, of course that water resistance is going to go up. But again, it has really nothing to do with anything, right? This is not unique.
Man, which I'm going to show you here in just a second as a size comparison, is 200 meters and it doesn't have a screw down crown. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and show you the size comparison, just to give you some idea
He's
of
got
how
big hands.
This, first of all, it's taking up all 4 fingers. Holy Moses, look at that. All right. So here is mine. I'm going to go from smallest to biggest. Here's my Citizen Solar Pro Master. There you go. Just go ahead and drink that in for a second. Let that soak in how big this watch is compared to this really nice, one of my absolute favorite watches.
Cool. And let me make it very clear, too, that Citizen's no better quality than Invicta. Like, I have Citizen. I've had my hands on many Citizen watches. This might be a good spot to kind of talk about quality. What is the main difference between these watches? One, cosmetics, right? Most people are going to gravitate towards the Citizen for just because it's simple styling, right? This Aquaman watch is big, it's gaudy, it's bold, it's for the Aquaman lover, right? Absolutely. But what is it made out of? We have 2 watches here, both made of 3/16 stainless steel. We both have 2 watches with a crystal. What is a crystal, right? Invicta uses flame fusion. The Citizen, not sure, maybe sapphire. Let's pretend for a second that it is sapphire. Both watches offer a really great level of scratch resistance. So remember, just because one is sapphire doesn't mean that the other one, the Flame Fusion or K1 or Cristerna, doesn't give you scratch resistance. It absolutely does, and it does. It provides scratch resistant really well, right? If you look at Ben's Watch Club, he did a scratch test on a lot of the most well-known crystals, and Flame Fusion did extremely well. So again, you're getting a great level of scratch resistance, maybe better on the Citizen. Let's talk about the movement, right? So we have a Swiss-made Ronda. Let me backtrack. That's irrelevant. Swiss-made means nothing. But we do have a Ronda movement in here, quartz. The Citizen has an eco drive. I'm not sure if that's an automatic or if that's some sort of, that might be solar powered. Both are going to tell time almost perfect, right? So they both do the same job. What else? Screw down crown. Maybe the Citizen has a screw down crown. Maybe the Citizen has better water resistance, but based on what it says on the dial, 200 meters versus, I think he said the Invicta has 200 meters as well. He already articulated that the bezel on the Invicta was surprising. It's really good. It shouldn't be surprising if you've had your hands on Invictas. They're all pretty good, right? And so I am sure that Citizen isn't better. And if it is, who cares? I'm sure the bezel's easier to turn on the Invicta, right? So if they both have a milled clasp, remember, we have 3/16 stainless steel, both have quartz accurate movements, both have good bezel action. Let's pretend for a second they both don't have a screw down crown. And they both have, did I mention the milled clasp? What is the difference other than cosmetics, right? So again, we're not really talking about the quality you get here, right? Whether you like the watch or not, we're just kind of bashing the watch because he doesn't like the way it looks.
Citizen Pro Master. Let's do a thickness comparison. There you go. The Invicta fanboys are just going to absolutely hate me.
Well, because I wouldn't say I hate this guy, but I do think he's a pompous, I don't even want to go as far as saying a snob, but I don't think he's a very respectful person. You can explain that you don't like something without trying to bash what other people like. And again, I'm not really a fan of the Aquaman watch myself personally, but I do like Invicta, the brand in general. I do like the Grand Octane. Do I wear it all the time? No, but I like, and I like that Citizen as well. So, I wouldn't necessarily buy the Citizen because it doesn't really do anything for me, but it's a fine watch. Nothing wrong with it. So I don't know. I think fanboy is kind of a derogatory way to describe somebody who's just like a teeny bopper, I love brute, whatever. Back in the 80s, you had the teeny bopper magazine, and all the girls go crazy over the pop stars, right? And doesn't matter what kind of person they are, they just love them, right? And that's not, there are some Invictas I wouldn't buy, like not just based on cosmetics, just based on doesn't offer the level of quality that I like in a watch. And so, I don't just arbitrarily state that every Invicta is amazing or every Invicta is great, how dare you, but I am definitely a fan of the brand, and there's many Citizen fanboys, there's many Casio fanboys, so again, you can be a fan of something. It doesn't mean, I think when they throw the word boy in there, it's almost like saying that that they're little children, they have the ability to reason, right? Or to, they don't know what they're doing, they don't know what they're talking, just ridiculous.
But that's okay, I can take it. There you go, so that's the Pro Master. Now, let's go to the second biggest. We're looking at the Seiko Patty Turtle. There you go. Big watch. You're looking at 45 millimeters. Big watch.
All right, so again, big watch. We're at 45 millimeters, some would consider a very big watch, right? So why is it okay that he's okay with 45 and yet that's okay. Some folks who like 39 millimeters might say that that's ridiculous looking, right? So again, and I don't think that. I think the Seiko is a fine watch. I wouldn't spend the money. My gripe with Seiko is that they're overpriced. You can get a watch that looks just like that under steel die for half the price, just as good. So, but again, buy what makes you happy, right? Let me just catch up on the comment here. Savage just said, I like the look and the case doesn't look too bulky. Yeah, I mean, that is subjective. It's I think it's a big watch, period. Garfy's waving. Hello, Garfy. Brent said, good Lord, that could double as a dive belt. Not really. I mean, again, another kind of joke. It's a big watch, absolutely. We understand it's a big, heavy watch. It's bigger than most watches out there. It's heavier than most watches out there. But, it's not a dive belt. It's not a clock. It's a big watch. And Savage just said, I would buy the Invicta because of the case. Yep, this is one of my favorite Invicta models. I think they should have made this watch in a 47 as well. They did make a few, let me just strike that, make more of them in 47. They make the female version, which this is a great looking piece. I think they would attract more customers if they made some mid-size versions of their large watches like this. And they do in some cases, but not enough.
But nothing compared to the 63 millimeter Aquaman Grand Octane Limited Edition right here. There you go. Let's also do a thickness comparison. I'm lining up at the top of the crystal there.
Oh, we see that.
All right. And last but not least.
And I just want to kind of point something out too. Like, let me just go back for a second. If you look at that Seiko, look at the bracelet on the Seiko. To me, that Seiko looks flimsy and friggin' cheap. That Invicta looks solid, and I know that Seiko, that Invicta, that's a solid bracelet, man. It is a tank of a watch. And when you, with a lot of those Seikos, they feel tinny. Look at the clasp on the Seiko for quality's sake. The clasp on this is just a basic cheap stamped clasp. You can find these for $19 on AliExpress. I mean, this is a very cheap, I would consider this a mediocre clasp. Does it work? Absolutely. Do I have many that are stamped? Absolutely. But typically, that Invicta clasp is far superior and a lot nicer to look at and much of higher level of precision and quality than that basic stamped clasp.
All right. And last but not least, the biggest one, probably the biggest watch in my collection, I believe, the 54 millimeter G-Shock Rangeman.
All right, so wait a minute. So we are totally knocking the size of this Invicta. And granted, it is a huge watch. Massive. We can't argue that, right? But 54 millimeter is a huge watch as well. That's a massive timepiece, that G-Shock. So why is that okay? Like, I mean, if I were to put a 54 millimeter Invicta that was the same watch, would we still be making a big deal about the size? This is just totally hypocritical and complete nonsense. This is where a YouTuber strictly will make any excuse for the things that they like. It kind of reminds me of politics a little bit. No, without getting too far, but people will make excuses for other people despite how they talk, how they articulate things, what kind of person they are, just because they believe in the person. To me, that's the blind leading the blind, right? And so I don't understand how you could say that this G-Shock's okay and at 54 millimeter and not make fun of it like you're making fun of the size of the Invicta. Again, super hypocritical.
There you go. And again, another watch is dwarfed by the Invicta. Let's do a size comparison. There you go.
That G-Shock's thick.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, I like how he tries to hold the G-Shock up a little higher to make it not look as thick, to try to rationalize his thoughts here. That G-Shock is massive. Absolutely massive. And if you don't like big watches, then you wouldn't like the G-Shock. But you would think a guy like this would really like the Invicta, right? I can guarantee you, if Casio came out with a 63 millimeter watch, this guy would eat it up.
So those are pretty big watches. But again, let's go ahead and get these out of the way.
Again, I thought this was a review. Like, we're just focusing strictly on Aquaman and the size.
They're just nothing compared in size and weight to this Invicta. So I don't know what type of guy would want this thing or why they would buy it, or
I don't know what kind of guy would buy the Casio with the ability to, like, I don't know, humidity and all these things. Like, the Casio is generally a guy who's very active. Based on the way this guy's hands look, I don't think this guy is very, like, athletic. Could be wrong. I'm not trying to be rude, but, you know, what kind of guy is going to buy a G-Shock Rangemaster? Maybe somebody in the military. Maybe somebody is active duty. Somebody who has a reason to be able to tell temperature and whatever else that thing does, right? And most people just wear it to wear it. Like, they just buy it because it's cool. It has that feature, right? So what kind of guy buys a G-Shock who doesn't need it? I'm making a point here. The person who buys the Invicta, in this particular Invicta, is a guy who likes big watches. Maybe he's a big boy. Maybe he's a small boy and just likes big watches. The guy who buys this Invicta is a guy who's looking for good value, nice quality, and loves Aquaman. That's the guy who buys it.
I don't get it. I don't get why. I'm just flat.
I don't know how you could be a grown man and gone through your whole life not getting it. This seems extremely simple to understand. Why would somebody choose a red car? I don't get it. I don't get it. Why would somebody paint their house beige as opposed to gray? I just don't get it. Like, is this guy, like, does he have, like, a mental deficiency of something? Because it's pretty simple. You buy it because you like it. You buy it because you like Aquaman. This isn't something to really ponder. This is pretty simple stuff.
Flabbergasted. I don't know why some guy would want to buy this watch. First of all, it's extremely heavy. You've got all of this extra material in.
Heavy is subjective. It is a heavy watch. That is subjective. When I wear these, is it heavier than my Duke So I'm wearing? Absolutely. Does it bother me? No. I don't find it annoying. I don't find it heavy. I like it. So, again, subjective, opinionated, doesn't have anything to do with the review or quality.
Weight for absolutely no reason. I mean, those watch movements weigh, I don't know, 10, 15 grams, something like that. I'm just guessing.
No fact, just guessing, so we don't know.
So you don't need all of this extra stainless steel wrapped around your wrist.
So let me just check something here while I got you folks with us here, and for any of you who picked this up on the rerun, let's just take a look at the Rangemaster for a second, just to prove a point here. Casio Rangemaster. So the Casio Rangemaster, let's see what they get here. I just want to look at the features of the Rangemaster. This says Rangeman. This might be different. This looks like the same watch he just had on here. This is the Rangeman. Let's see. It looks like it's got some of the similar features. So, it's got a sensor on it. So it's got a triple sensor, which is capable of keeping altitude, barometric pressure, and temperature. So, why? Let me just use that same mentality. I don't get it. I don't get it. What kind of guy would want to have a 54mm watch on the wrist? Big piece of rubber, looks like a strap you'd strap down your garbage cans in the back of your truck. Why would you buy that? Just to be able to tell the barometric pressure and altitude. You know, like, do you need to know the altitude when you're driving to work? It's just again making excuses for what he likes, and again this level of think or lack, or should say lack thereof. This level of critical thinking is disturbing. Most people with a brain in their head who have the ability to reason and articulate can say, hey, the guy who buys this watch likes Aquaman and he likes big watches. Simple as that. A guy who buys a Casio Rangemaster, maybe he's in the military, maybe he has a job where he needs that data, but most of the population does not. So why would you buy that? Because you think it's cool. Because it's cool. That's it. That's the only reason. That's the only reason a person needs to buy something.
I don't get it. Maybe they think it's a status thing. Maybe they think if they wear this watch, people will think they're rich for some reason.
I don't think anybody thinks that buying an Invicta watch. I think people, again, I think people buy a Rolex for that reason. When you're spending 10 to, let me just be right with the numbers, because I said 20,000 and someone's come and tell me I'm wrong. So anywhere from 5 to 40,000. What kind of person buys a stainless steel Rolex for 10 grand? Maybe they want somebody to think they have money. I mean, again, we can use that argument for any brand. I don't think anybody looks at Invicta and says that guy's rich, and nor I think anybody buys Invicta because they're trying to put that perception out there.
I just don't know. Maybe this is a favorite among bouncers or something. I'd
like to see a bouncer bounce his fist off his head, right? He wouldn't say that. Again, this is another guy hiding behind his screen, hiding his identity, hiding what he looks like to avoid people critiquing him, because he doesn't have He's not man enough to actually take it. That's why guys like this hide behind the screen.
You know, those
I like to see him say that to a bouncer.
type of guys, I just don't get it.
And what do you mean those type of guys? There's lots of guys who are bouncers who are just, they're big guys, and that's how they make their income, right? There's lots of big people that do things that having size helps them in their job. If you're a big dude, that's naturally could be more intimidating to somebody. So naturally there's a presence that bouncers have within a club or within a sporting event or you know, security, whatever, that help to give a little bit of a security presence, right? So, you know, to arbitrarily to state that only bouncers, it's only, almost like he's insinuating that bouncers are dumb and are stupid for wearing this. You know, this is just, he would never say this to a big guy like that.
And I know, like I said, you Invicta guys are going to probably hate me, but please explain to me, why you guys like these watches.
I wouldn't waste my time. My question back would be like, why? Explain to me why you like a 54 millimeter G-Shock that tells barometric pressure. Explain to me why. Why? I don't get it. Why? This is, I mean, I don't know if this guy, maybe this guy does have some sort of, you know, mental deficiency. Maybe he's got a disability where his brain hasn't evolved just to do simple critical thinking. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't waste my time with arguments with deplorable people like this.
And I know a lot of you out there do. You think they're fantastic watches. But for me, a company that would make a product like this, I just don't get it. I really just.
I mean, there's lots of other brands making themed watches. I think Citizen's one of them. I don't know why a company would make barometric pressure watch for folks who generally don't need that. And altitude. Are we all pilots? I don't think so. So again, this lack of critical thinking, this, and maybe he's just faking it for the video, but not sure.
Just don't get it. So let's go ahead and try this thing on. All right. I can't express how heavy this watch is. All right.
I mean, seriously, how dramatic. Like, you're a grown man with huge hands. Like, it's heavy for you? I mean, putting aside the mental deficiency here, I would say if you're struggling that much with a watch, you should probably see a doctor because there's something else going on. Maybe you have some sort of early onset osteoporosis, something like that, where advanced muscle loss, something that is causing a super large watch like this for a person to struggle with just putting it on. Like, every task in this guy's life must be extremely difficult. And my heart goes out to somebody dealing with that.
I'm going to show you the price tag tier too, and I think that's going to make you laugh. Oh, okay. Oh, whoa. Okay, hold on. Let me get my other hand, help my hand. All right.
I think that watch actually fits his wrist pretty well. He has big wrists.
There you go.
Cool.
I just can't help it. Holy Moses, look at that thing.
Now put that G-Shock Rangemaster on. Let us get a good laugh at you.
Okay. Hey, baby, what time is it? Let me tell you. Hey, baby, what day is it? Well, I can't really see the day dial. I don't know, baby. Wednesday, Thursday, maybe it's club night. Maybe it's Thursday or something. I don't know. Well, baby, what's the actual date of the day? I don't have a date. Well, baby, you've got a really big watch. They could certainly have made room to put the actual date on the watch. Look, just get in the club. I'll let you in free. Just leave me alone.
Guy is real tough behind the screen.
All right, there it is. Now we're going to do the loom.
Loom is terrible. Absolutely.
And the loom is predictably horrible. So let's go ahead and kill the studio light. Let's kill the monitor.
I mean, it still has loom, but Invictus
Let me show you this loom.
They're great loom.
All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and zap this thing. Guys, I don't even remember how I saw this watch, how this watch got on my radar. I have no idea. So there you go.
Hey, he's got loom.
Looks like you have kind of like that cobalt blue loom. Kind of reminds me actually of, let me show you, the Citizen right here, which has excellent
Citizen definitely has better loom for sure.
There we go. There you go. There's the Citizen. And here, of course, is the Invicta. My mouth doesn't even want to say the brand name. Invicta. There you go.
Childish person.
Not bad loom. I mean, to the naked eye, it's already faded out, but the camera, picks up lower light levels. So to the camera, you're able to see it, but to my
it's funny how now we'll talk about specifications and actually like measurable differences in quality. Now we'll talk about that because the Citizen seems to have the Invicta beat, right? Now we'll make an issue of mentioning that, right? But before that, we're all talking Aquaman size, weight.
Naked eye, the hour and minute hand are still visible, but nothing else is. So there you go. There's the lume. Let's turn everything else back on. My eyes are starting to burn again, so I don't know how much more of this I can take. It's just wow.
This is kind of also where some YouTubers, this type of review, this negative review, they do this in order to gain subscribers with the watch snob fan base. So,
wow. Okay, now on Invicta's website, they have got this watch listed for an MSRP. That means manufacturer's suggested retail price of $2,295.
yeah, so we all know, I mean, I'm not going to beat this horse dead too much here. We all know this is not the price people pay. And do I agree with this ridiculous MSRP? I wish they wouldn't do this. Absolutely. I'm going to agree with him on this. This is ridiculous. It's not a $2,000 watch. This is a $150, $130, because that's what I got one of mine for, $130 up to $500, right? Sometimes $12 if you get them with diamonds, because you're going to pay a premium for those. But I generally don't buy the Diamond Invictus because you're still getting a $130 to $400 watch with the addition of stones. So to me, it's not really worth it to spend that extra money on something like that for some diamond chips. Are they cool? Do they look great? Yeah, I mean, you know, I wouldn't mind having one, to be honest with you, but I'm just not going to rationalize that much for a watch, period, no matter who makes it. So, but yeah, I agree. This is pretty ridiculous.
The tag, I don't know why the marketing people didn't talk to each other. The tag has got the watch at $1,995.
And this is a marketing game that many companies do this. You know, I'll just pick on a brand real quick besides Rolex or anybody else. You know, Rolex definitely puts an MSRP. And, you know, Rolex, I think, is an amazing company because they have conned people into paying $5,000 to $20,000 for a stainless steel watch. That's incredible. That's amazing marketing. I think Rolex as a company is a marketing genius. But this, not so much. You know, Invicta puts a $2,000 MSRP, and then they just kind of manipulate the price on the website to kind of, you know, let's say they'll put the watch on sale. Let's say they want to get $200 for the watch, so they'll go ahead and throw a higher MSRP on it. Then they raise the MSRP, they raise the actual going price of the watch. I hate this kind of tactic. It cheapens a brand. Kudos to brands like, not Nubeo, Spinnaker for not doing this. Even though they do it with Nubeo. Kudos to brands like Aragon, honestly, for not doing this nonsense. They put the price on there. That's the price of the watch. It's a fair price for the watch. And when they have sales, it builds that element of hey, I better get this now before the sale ends. That sense of urgency is what they build with their brands. This is just awful. It really is. But it doesn't fool people. People will know. Only a fool would be fooled by this MSRP. If you are the kind of guy, and I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings here, but this is just a little bit eye-opener. If you go on a cruise ship and you see an Invicta and you're like, wow, I'm getting a $5,000 watch. And I don't want to make anybody feel stupid for saying that because there's lots of people who are just naive. And naive is somebody who just doesn't know any better, right? They may have never bought a watch before and they go on the cruise ship and they see like these Invictas that are like, oh, it's a $2,000 watch for $500. That's deceptive because when they get home, let's say, again, naive, should have checked your phone, see what they go for. Let's say you didn't, you get home, and then you realize you could have got it for half the price of that. I do find that a little deceptive. But again, be a smart shopper. Take the onus is on you to not get ripped off, and just take ownership. Don't just buy things, question things, look at specs. If it's not Invicta or any brand for that matter.
And you can actually get it on Amazon for $445, and I'm sure you could probably get it cheaper other places.
I agree. Again, depending on supply and demand.
So, guys, that's it. I mean, I just watches like this just absolutely fascinate me. Why certain guys like to wear these things? Do they think it helps them pick up women? I really.
A guy who says that obviously has does not have any experience with women. A guy like this probably has not had many women in his life. Like, he's obviously, probably convinced somebody to, be with him. This is not, no guy buys a watch thinking this is going to pick up women. Now, there are the money hungry, gold diggers out there, but this is not the brand you buy. Nobody buys Invicta thinking, only a guy who has no experience with women. And now I'm not going to get involved in what women like, because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Everybody likes something different. But no, guys who buy Invicta don't think that unless they're fools, and then they'll probably quickly learn that that's, and even if you did manage to convince somebody that you had money by wearing this Invicta watch and you attracted a gold digger, soon enough she's going to find out, and then you just look foolish, right? So again, you buy this watch because you like Aquaman, because you like the big, bold, gaudy watches. You buy it simply because you like it. And you're going to get a quality watch regardless.
Really want to know.
I really want to know why a guy needs to have a temperature sensor and a barometric pressure sensor on their watch at 54 millimeters. Well, you could just wear a 40 millimeter watch to tell time. I mean, again, this is so hypocritical.
An answer to this question. Please, the Invicta fanboys out there, I tried to be as nice as I could to this watch, and I really would like some answers. I mean, please tell me why you guys like these watches.
Nah, he doesn't really want answers. A guy like this either knows why people watch it and this is just nonsense video, or he's too stupid to understand. And regardless, this is a deplorable human being, not worthy of any kind of actual debate, right? And because we didn't really discuss quality here. We glazed over quality, we kind of fluffed that out the window, and we focused mainly on insulting somebody who likes this watch. I get it. It's not my cup of tea, this particular model, or not model, this particular version of the watch, but somebody does like it, and somebody's very proud to wear it. So why not be respectful of somebody who just likes watches, right?
I'm really curious. I will say this one thing. This orange kind of reminds me of the orange Sunburst new Seiko Turtle model that came.
See, again, if it's now he likes the orange because it reminds him of Seiko. Like, let's pick and choose what I like, and that's acceptable. Again, just a sad human being.
Came out recently. Kind of like that. Kind of like the orange, actually. Everything
and
else,
again, the pitch for his store.
All right. So also make sure you like and subscribe. What I like and give me commission. Bell. All of us YouTubers really appreciate that. And I'm trying to think of anything else to tell you about this watch, guys. That's really been about it. So if you got any questions,
how about specifications? How about the specs? How about the quality?
Please put those in the comment section. I will try to answer those as best I can. If you've got to have one of these, I will make sure to put a link in the description field so you can go over to Amazon and pick one up. Despite,
well, at least he's not too dumb to not put an affiliate link in the description.
My advice not to, but if you want to, go ahead and do it. It's your money. Spend it how you like. Buy what you want. And they also come in.
Buy what you want. It's your money. I'm not here to tell you what to spend your money on, but let me insult you for 45 minutes first.
I think 4 or 5 different styles in this Grand Octane version. They come in I think, just don't quote me for this, they have like a Spider-Man version, a Captain America, they have
a lot more versions of that.
Those are the Marvel ones. They also have Batman and I think Wonder Woman and some others. Anyway, all those comic book characters, they've got the Marvel ones and the DC, but the DC, this version only comes in I think 4 different, and honestly, I really don't care enough to research it. I do know they have a Batman.
No, it just took the time to make a whole video about it.
Just like.
And there's just, there you go. So we titled the video Unbox and Review, but I didn't take the time to even research it because I don't care. So why are you reviewing it? No, just a garbage trash YouTuber right here.
This. And I think they have 2 others just like this. But anyway, if you want to get one, go over there, check it out. And good luck with that. Anyway, guys, until the next review.
All right, so I will just hit you with the main specifications again. If you're looking at this watch, number 1, you have to like Aquaman, and number 2, you have to want a huge watch with big wrist presence, right? Absolutely. So number 2, what is it made out of? We have 3/16 stainless steel. That's 90% of the watch right there. Most watches that are stainless steel on planet Earth are made of 3/16 stainless steel. It is used so widely because it's a great material for watches. It offers great corrosion resistance. It's great longevity. It's all you really need. Sure, you can get into titanium and gold and tungsten. And yeah, absolutely, those are cool too. But this is really all you need. So you're getting a good quality construction. As pointed out in the video, Bezel action was great, right? I didn't hear him complaining about the way the crown felt or anything like that. I could attest having nine or 10 of these. The bezel action's fantastic, and the crown and function pushers, some are going to be screw down, some are not going to be screw down. You still get an element of water resistance. Should you buy this if you're a pro diver? I would say no. This is a watch. Remember, number one, Aquaman and big watches, right? After that, we have a Flame Fusion Crystal. Fantastic. You don't need any more. If Sapphire is a deal breaker for you, probably not the watch for you, but rest assured, you're getting a great level of scratch resistance with Flame Fusion. After that, what kind of clasp do we have? We have a beautiful milled clasp, right, with 4 levels of micro adjustment. Fantastic. It's great. We have a screw-on stainless steel case back, right? You're going to get that water resistance. After that, what else do we have? I mean, that's really the bulk of it, the movement, right? If you don't like quartz watches, probably not going to get this one, right? If that's a deal breaker for you, then you're going to have to find something with an automatic, and they probably don't make this one an automatic. Lots of the Grand Octanes are going to be done with this the Z60 Ronda movement. There are different movements out there, master calendars and other ones, retrograde day of the week features. But, you know, again, they're quartz, but number one, quartz tells time better, more accurately than an automatic. So you're getting a great level of time telling capability. Now, if you find it hard to read, not your watch. But I'm going to refer you back to number one. You have to like Aquaman, you got to like the big watches. That's why you're buying this watch. All those things I mentioned as far as the quality, the build quality are fantastic. Fit and finishing, the quality of the plating, again, mine 10 years old, no issues whatsoever. You're going to be fine there, right? After that, what else can we really talk about with the watch? That's about it. So we have a watch that has the same features, the same build quality as 99% of the watches out there. So you're getting something of great quality. It's going to last you. I love the Ronda movements. Pull that crown to number 2 position. You're going to save your battery life by 70% when you're not wearing the watch. Otherwise, figure like Maverick said, maybe about 2 years. I think it's pretty standard for a watch with a battery of this size. It might be longer. I know my dad has a watch I gifted him that has a 5-year battery life in it. It's a quartz. He loves it because he doesn't want to have to worry about setting the time. So you're getting a great movement, and you're getting a movement by a reputable company. I like when companies, and this is Invicta's not the only one that does this, a lot of companies outsource the movement. You know, if you're going to outsource to an H35, or you're going to outsource to Citizen Movement, or you're going to outsource to Miota, or Valjoux, whatever, you're getting a movement by companies specialized in movements. To me, I think that's wiser than trying to make your own movement, right, for a company, especially if that's not what you've specialized in. So you're getting a great quality watch. The only deal breaker is, do you want to watch that big, and do you like Aquaman? So that's about it, folks. So I'm just going to close up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed content like this. I'll be doing a lot more of these. And again, always watch who you like, watch that resonates with you. But realistically, when somebody's doing a review, you want to point out the good of the watch and put aside your own personal feelings about the wearer and the person who likes this or doesn't like this, and the cosmetics of the watch. If you're doing a watch review based on your taste and what you like, what you deem as something that you want to add to your collection, by all means, do a show and tell on that. But this was not a review. This is simply just to bash the watch brand, bash the watch, and bash the person who likes the brand. So, all right. So let me just close out here. Savage just said Invicta was never sold in stores here, and he said I watched your Invicta reviews years back on my other channel and had the same thoughts as Maverick on the size, and as time went on, I have come to appreciate the size and stylings of the case. Yeah, I mean, it's a great watch. Like I said, I have, I think eight or nine of these now. I have the gold on gold, yellow tone gold, and rose, the combination. I have the black with abalone face. I have the all stainless steel. I have the yellow gold and silver mirror polished. I have the yellow gold and silver matte finish, black face. I have, is that 5? I know I got more than that. I did have the tiger eye, mother of pearl checkered face I sold. I did have like a Batman black and blue I sold. I have the iridescent and a few more in there. So, obviously I like the watch. Perfect example, like the iridescent. Like, I very rarely wear that watch, but it's just cool to have it. Every now and then I like to throw something on super colorful like that. It does not get a lot of wrist time. It's not my favorite Grand Octane, but it's like I said, it's really hard for me to pick a favorite of anything. I have so many watches, but one thing I want you to take from these kind of reaction videos and any review that I do is most of the quality you get across all brands it's very, very similar. No matter what brand that you fall in love with, whatever what model you fall in love with, if you just stick to those check boxes I'm mentioning, you're going to get a nice quality watch that's really going to be the perfect watch for you. And that's really all that matters. So thanks for watching, folks. Have a fantastic day. Do comment, subscribe, do all that stuff, and have a fantastic day, and take care now.